And we are live. Friends, good to see you on this Monday. Hope you are doing well. Rusty back with you here. Central Florida Weather Live, the show coming to you on this Monday afternoon. Hope you had a great week. Enjoyed the time with the family. Was able to really have some relaxing time over the last week. So good to be back with you guys here. Got a lot to talk about on CFLW, the show coming up today. We'll get into it in just a second here as we get cranked back up on the channel. Want to, of course, welcome our sponsor, the leading law firm of Central Florida. You can see their logo on the bottom of your screen. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews, anything that can impact you or your property, and they cover the entire state, homeowners, condo owners, and associations. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. You can go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Good to see you guys. How's everyone doing? Hi, Maxine from Nassau, Bahamas in the house. Blue Goose back in the house as well. Good afternoon for you guys. Great day. Again, appreciate you guys letting me have the last week off. Spent some time with the family. It was spring break week for my kids. If you guys don't know, I have a 12 and a 9-year-old. The 9-year-old's about ready to become 10, but we actually traveled to 3 different state parks in North Carolina and West Virginia. We love that area of the country. I hadn't been to West Virginia since I first worked there, my very first job in television. The weather was exactly what you would expect in March. We had temperatures below freezing. We had an 80-degree afternoon. We had severe thunderstorms around us, and we actually had a little bit of flurries and some ice pellets on our way up to West Virginia. So I told my wife when we were trying to pack, I was like, look, it's March in the mid-Atlantic. I'm like, these fronts coming in are going to drop the temperatures by 40 degrees. We literally just have to prepare for anything. And we absolutely got it. But it was really cool, you know what I mean, to be able to go up there and experience that kind of weather. But overall, it was very nice. I actually did some whitewater rafting. If you guys know the New River there in southeast West Virginia, the water level was actually 4 feet above average. And the water temperature was a crisp 42 degrees, but I had on a wetsuit. I've been whitewater rafting before. I love to do it. And actually, there were class 4 and 5 rapids all over the river because of the elevated water level. So it was a really, really fun time. And we got to enjoy things as well. But great to see you guys today. If you guys saw the headline from the video, spring has sprung, and it certainly has. I mean, it's been a variable kind of temperature over the last several weeks for us here. But now we're really going to start to get into a warming trend. So coming up, we're going to be talking about what we expect over the next couple of days. I'm watching another front with some storms in our western panhandle right now. We'll talk about how that's going to influence us. Of course, I've got some city-by-city forecasts as well. So as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. Let me know what the weather has been like. I appreciate you guys joining me again on this Monday afternoon. This is a look at what's going on with our visible satellite imagery over the last 6 hours and our temperatures, which are already warming quite nicely. We started off this morning in the 50s in some spots. It was a crisp morning, but you can clearly see the thicker cloud coverage beginning to build into the area, and relatively speaking, we have fairly overcast skies at this point in time. Now, there'll be some breaks from time to time in some of the cloud coverage, but you know, we're gonna get a mostly cloudy afternoon. Let's take a look at some of our cameras. This is the live look to the Conway camera here. This is, of course, going to be in downtown Orlando. Unfortunately, my box here isn't working, so I can't take myself off screen. Just probably have to reset it again. Just getting things cranked up again after a 9-day notice. But anyway, no big deal. But you can just see fairly overcast skies, but there'll be peaks of sunshine from time to time. Bit of a breeze there as well, mainly out of the south ahead of this weak front that'll be coming in. You can see the live temperatures, by the way, on the bottom of your screen. And a lot of areas right here at 1 o'clock are already flirting with 80 degrees. And we've got some even warmer weather coming up. But this is a very typical shot here where we have mainly overcast skies, a peak here and there with some sunshine, a little bit of broken cloud coverage. This is our live look from our winter garden camera. Same situation again, kind of relatively mid and low level deck of clouds. Then you do have a little bit of a break here when you look up. Now, this is not going to generally bear us any rain for today, but the very interesting thing is that we actually do have both sea breezes at play for today. We actually are going to get an onshore wind both on the east and the west coast, and I'll talk about that. And I can't rule out that promoting an isolated shower in the interior sections of the state later this afternoon. I don't really expect it. We don't really have the force and we don't have the heat of the day. I mean, again, this is a kind of a May through November situation, but we do start to see here, even late March from time to time, the sea breezes begin to come on shore, and the collision of those sea breezes can still promote some isolated showers here, even this early in the season. As a live look from our Disney area camera, this is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. Again, relatively gray sky out there, brisk winds from time to time as well. How you doing there, Blue Goose? New River Gorge. We visited about 20 years ago, took the river tour from Hawks Nest. It is the oldest river in the U.S. And the interesting thing about it, I was actually talking with the owner of the outfitting company, the whitewater rafting, because I only did a half day. I didn't want to spend the full day away from my family. And he was telling me, he said that when they went to President Washington, George Washington sent some surveyors out west to basically discover what was going on out west. He wanted to have an idea, and they thought they had found a new river. So literally on the maps, they were calling it New River, New River, New River, New River. And they went down, and surveying in these days took months and months and months, 7-8 months. And eventually they got down far enough south and they realized that they were actually on the Woods River, a previously discovered river called the Woods River. But because all of the mapping and initially said New River, and they, I guess, were continuing to make copies of that, they just stuck with New River. So the New River was the New River. And the interesting thing is, just like the St. John's, it flows north, which I had to be reminded of as well. The New River there flows north, and portions, and actually the headwaters begin here in North Carolina and then go into southeast sides of West Virginia, and then they go into the Gauley River as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful area. If you guys haven't been, man, I was telling my wife, I was like, look, you're gonna be shocked at the elevation changes, right? The gorge itself and just all around southeast West Virginia. It's an amazing stuff. All right, so let's take a look at the rain right now. Again, this is a pretty active day to our west. Look at first of all, at the tremendous amount of lightning. Spring, as I said, has sprung. In this view, you're looking at the live lightning count here on CFLW. This is gonna be the live lightning count over just 15 minutes, okay? So earlier this morning, we had some lightning counts that got over, I believe, 1,000 in a couple of spots here. It's just a tremendous amount of lightning for southern sides of Mississippi and portions of Louisiana and coastal Alabama and into our western panhandle. You can clearly see that we're beginning to get a little bit of a linear feature here in the northern side of the Gulf. There's also a huge ball of lightning here right in the central side of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, generally speaking, this activity is not going to have a tremendous amount of impact in our area. A lot of the dynamics with this front are going to be pushed to the north. I'm interested to see how this plays out, but this should die out as it pushes towards our west coast. That being said, late tonight, but especially tomorrow, if we are going to get a rumble of thunder, I think it's going to be along our immediate west coast, portions of Levy and Citrus and Pasco and Hernando and Pinellas counties down to Manatee and Sarasota counties. I don't expect much in that way, but again, this is another active front. Now, as far as the opportunity for severe weather with this goes for today, you can see that this dark green on the map is your marginal risk, right? The general lighter green is just the general thunderstorm risk for the remainder of today. Not expecting there to be a lot, right? But you can clearly see that right along the northern Gulf Coast, we could see a strong or an isolated severe storm. The general risk of a few storms goes into our far, far northern areas, up towards Gainesville and the Jacksonville area. But again, things should be weakening as this comes through late tonight and then through tomorrow. Again, the timing of this isn't fantastic to get a ton of any storms. Notice how for the Storm Prediction Center tomorrow, it almost skips most of Central Florida for any risk, right? There's no actual, risk of severe weather for tomorrow. This is for our Tuesday, but there is a generalized thunderstorm risk for our southern areas, portions of Brevard, Osceola, Polk, Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, and Sarasota counties. But again, I'm expecting there to be an isolated rumble of thunder at best. But this is the system coming through over the next 24 hours. Again, a little bit more active weather to our northwest for today, and then the storms climb back to their south throughout the day tomorrow. Behind it, it is going to be another warmer day. Eventually down the road, we'll start to see more storms develop here in the central United States, and there is going to be a broad area of severe weather for next weekend, and we'll talk about that on Friday's show, and if that's going to have any impacts for us. So I'll tease that ahead. But again, for this initial part of the early to midweek, not expecting any severe weather out of this. Now again, winds, they're quite breezy. These are your wind gusts at the hour. Let me go ahead and throw back on our timeline here. And again, these are mainly going to be south winds, although along the immediate coast, as I've already mentioned, both sea breezes are in play for today. It's not going to be a strong sea breeze by any stretch of the imagination. Crystal River, though, as you can see along the west coast, they have a west onshore wind. Daytona Beach has a south wind still. Let's see if we can see any east winds as of yet. Still have a southwest wind in Titusville. St. Augustine still has a northwest wind. So the west coast sea breeze is a little bit more prominent right now, but there could still be a slight easterly component to the wind eventually. If I put on the 10-meter winds, which are going to be our surface winds, and this is just a plot, and let me bring this field up here. You can see that right along the west coast, there is a bit of an actual onshore breeze, and eventually these could swing a little bit more out of the east. So let's just call it like it is. It's going to be a very diffuse sea breeze, if anything, but it's also going to kind of keep the clouds in play, a little bit of moisture. And again, could there be a spotty shower later today out ahead of that front? Yes. Would it be nothing more than that? No, nothing more than that. And then we'll see the main front come in. Now, you can clearly see the winds associated with this front are much stronger. Got a 40-mile-an-hour gust in Wilmington, 33 in Atlanta, 48 offshore there on one of the oil platforms. And we're going to see some breezy conditions come along for the ride as well. Lou, how you doing? Good afternoon to you. Pleasure to see you. Good morning, good afternoon. I will take a how you doing at any point in time, Lou. And thank you very much for tuning in. By the way, while you guys are here, thank you so much for liking this video, this live stream. Thank you for subscribing to Central Florida Weather Live if you have not as of yet. Getting back into gear here, guys. We're going to start to get into a little bit more active pattern. Now, we could desperately use the rain, all right? Let's talk about real quick let me do this here fast. I'm going to go back over to here because it's just a little bit easier. And then I want to talk about the drought index. This should pop on momentarily. Okay, so we're starting to see the drought worsen a bit, all right? We have the areas in yellow as abnormally dry, okay? The areas in brown is a low drought, if you will, okay? But the areas in orange, which by the way, actually should be extended a little bit more than what they are right now, is what's considered to be a severe drought. So the areas in orange actually now do extend to Lake County. So apologize, this isn't the newest one, unless, I don't think the timeline's gonna matter here. Yeah, it's probably just didn't get the newest update. But unfortunately, the drought conditions in Central Florida are getting worse, right? You have a lot of areas in yellow, which are abnormally dry. It's just really a sliver of the southern sides of Brevard and portions of Indian River County that aren't under that for our area. The brown is what's considered to be a moderate drought, and then the orange is severe. And that severe drought has now actually spread through most of Pasco, Hernando, portions of Sumter, and into Lake counties, okay? There are some areas, and the National Weather Service office out of Melbourne had a great chart on this. There are some areas since October, like Daytona Beach and portions of Lake County, just others, that they've had less than 50% of their normal rainfall, all right? So it's a problem because now we're looking at, pushing this abnormally dry weather 5 months, down the road. And when you're starting off dry, it's gonna be an issue. And any lightning that we get for tomorrow could cause additional wildfires. You know, it's early in the season to be talking about this, but we've also been very dry lately as well. So I just wanted to point that out. You know, we'll watch out for any red flag warnings, you know, the high fire threats, but the lightning would be the main catalyst. But obviously, you're going to want to probably limit some outdoor burning until we hopefully get a little bit more rain. Now, I don't have a ton of that in the forecast in the short term, so I don't really expect the fire threat to go away anytime soon. And I don't expect the drought conditions here to Central Florida to get much better, at least through the end of the month. We're probably going to be overall running temperatures above normal, and the rain that would be below average. And we'll take a look at that coming up in just a second. But I did want to mention that that's going to be part of the equation as well. Yep, that's the problem, Blue Goose. You get these storms coming in, you're going to have that opportunity. There's no doubt about it. So let's do a few things here. Let's bring on our HRRR model, and we're going to take a look at that as far as what I expect over the next 48 hours, okay? Let this loop up, take 1 second. Hopefully, I had it loaded, so hopefully it's good to go. Would you like to loop, please, sir? No? All right. Well, just wanted to make sure that I wasn't frozen. Let's try it again. Would you like to loop? Oh, you know what? Maybe it got stuck on the single frame. It didn't, but I'm willing to try it again. There we go. Not really sure. Honestly, I have no idea why I didn't loop. Every so often there's a setting that I didn't get correct, but that one looked good. All right, so let's see how this plays out. The first thing I want to talk about here is for the remainder of the afternoon hours, right? I mentioned the sea breeze is coming on. You notice that even the HRRR model doesn't really paint on any rain in the area. So again, I just want to point out, I'm not going to rule out an isolated sprinkle with the diffuse sea breezes for today, but just the fact that we actually have both onshore winds on either coastline is, you know, a new part of the equation here for late March. And obviously that just gets a little bit more potent throughout the remainder of spring and into summer. Now, this huge ball of thunderstorm activity in the Central Gulf, notice the direction it's taking. It kind of gets washed by the front coming in and gets pushed more south than anything, right? So it's going to kind of meander. It could sneak into the Keys and the southwest side of the state, but I don't expect it to have a huge impact on us. I mean, you know, in a different scenario here with some different mid-level winds, this could be pushing right into Tampa, St. Pete, and really cause some nasty weather. But I don't expect that to be the case for today. And then we look at the northern part of this, which again is promoting some stronger storms at the hour. Notice how that's going to mainly run along the state lines, portions of Alabama, Georgia, and into our northern panhandle across the I-10 corridor. So this is going to be the area later today and into tomorrow with the best chance. We kind of just get the pieces of this more than anything. Watch this come in tonight and then through tomorrow, and you're just going to see a couple of spotty showers develop. Again, if there's going to be a rumble of thunder, it'll be along our immediate west coast, but I'm just expecting there to be a few light showers with still fairly cloudy conditions for the remainder of our Tuesday. Now, the interesting thing is in our far, far southern areas here, the HRRR model does try and bring in just kind of on that diffuse weakening boundary, a little bit of activity late tomorrow night, maybe into Osceola and Brevard counties. It's an interesting little feature. We'll see if it kind of holds together, but let's just say tomorrow, don't be shocked for, again, an isolated shower or a rumble of thunder. And for Maxine, watching in the Bahamas, you should catch a couple of these showers as well. The interesting thing is the HRRR model is actually more aggressive in portions of northern and northwest sides of the Bahamas for some thunderstorm activity tomorrow, and I'll have more on that, Maxine, for you coming up on the Media Mundo channel as well. But again, you know, decent front for this time of the year to work its way across the area. Blue Goose at 12.65 of rains since Milton. That's 12.69 since Milton. That's definitely below average. There's no doubt about that. I don't have... I mean, think most areas should be about 15, if I'm looking at that correctly. Again, it varies across the state, but since mid-October, you should be around 15 inches, right? Yeah, Blue Goose, no, tomorrow night, not tonight, tomorrow night, the 25th. If you look on the timeline here, today's the 24th. Watch the activity here tomorrow night, potentially, right? The herd just kind of picks up on a little piece of energy as that front gets pushed off the East Coast. We'll see if it holds out, but that would be for tomorrow night. Yeah. So even you, Blue Goose, slightly below average. Not much, but slightly below average. So let's take a look at the advisories that are into play right now. And again, at this point in time, we don't have any advisories for our area, but we could see a red flag warning, right? We could see a high fire threat. I am concerned about that. We talked about the dry conditions. We talked about the lightning. Obviously here, you're going to have the winds that we've talked about. You're going to have the gale warnings along the coastline, and you're going to have the special marine warnings. All of that is exactly what I would expect as that front works its way across the area. And again, if I go back over to these winds, you know, again, you're looking at 45, 50 mile an hour winds from time to time as this has come through. See if there's any watches. No severe thunderstorm watches. Let's see if there's any warnings. Oh, we did have one, but I think it's gone away. Let me go back over to the watches here. Yeah, it just got dropped off. So there were some severe thunderstorm watches, coastal Louisiana, southern sides of Mississippi. Let's look at the active warnings. And you can see why. All those reds that came through are going to be severe thunderstorm warnings. The yellows are special weather statements. The blues are your special marine warnings. So we had some special weather statements here from Mariana on over towards Freeport and Pensacola. And now some of the heavier activity is moving offshore. That's kind of a look at things. And again, my weather computer tracks all of this in real time. We talked about how that, you know, is the situation here. You can just see those moving along, those special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings, and those special marine warnings. Again, so no tornadic activity, thankfully. Hopefully not expecting that. All right, so that's how, you know, it looks right now. And we talked about how it's going to play out over the next couple of days. Let's go over to the forecast that I made and look at those city by city. So we'll start off in Orlando, right? Again, I'm expecting it to be relatively cloudy tomorrow, breezy conditions, spotty rain, nothing heavy. The worst case scenario is we get a rumble of thunder or two in Orange County, but that's about it. Temperatures, again, above average, 63 tomorrow morning, 82 the daytime high. Then it gets warm as south winds begin to pick back up, at least a southwest wind. So up to 86 for Wednesday afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Now, winds should, for a brief time, turn back out of the north or northwest. Not going to last long, but that should allow temperatures to drop a little bit and the humidity to come back down a little bit on Thursday. So a pleasant, breezy day on Thursday. We're going to have some winds, 20, 25 miles an hour Thursday afternoon. 81 the daytime high, a morning low right around 60. But again, temperatures the next 3 days in Orlando should be at or above 80 degrees. In Tampa, again, it's along the immediate west coast where we could see an isolated thunderstorm. Still probably just some showers on a mostly cloudy skies for your Tuesday. 67, a very mild start to our Tuesday. 82 the daytime high. Sunny and warm for your Wednesday afternoon, 85 the daytime high, and another beautiful afternoon and another warm day on Thursday, again 85. Morning lows that will be in the lower 80s, but behind the brief shower chance tomorrow, we're dry for Wednesday and Thursday. Along Daytona Beach, again, it's going to be a little bit different scenario with the East Coast wind, right? Cloudier conditions across most of Volusia and Brevard on over towards Flagler counties, up towards St. John's, places like that, with isolated showers as a possibility underneath that cloud coverage. And again, cooler, 76 the daytime high. Right now, again, temperatures in the morning are very mild, but we just don't warm up as much in the afternoon, despite the fact that we're going to have plenty of sunshine. And by the way, I saw some pictures and some video of the spring breakers on Daytona Beach. Goodness gracious, you couldn't move. Now, I spent a couple of spring breaks at Daytona Beach. But like there were literally so many spring breakers, like you could not see the beach. It was crazy. And driving back yesterday on I-95 was not pleasant, to say the least. But I hope, obviously, we're getting some good tourist dollars, if nothing else, there along our East Coast. Sunny and nice for Wednesday afternoon, 78. And then it will get a little bit breezier with that wind out of the north on Thursday. 59 the morning low. A little bit cool for the spring breakers this week on Thursday afternoon. 74 will be the daytime high. And then for my friends in the villages, slightly better chance for a shower tomorrow. 30% chance, a little bit farther north and west. But still, it's not going to shock me if you are dry across portions of Sumter and Marion counties tomorrow. There will still be dry hours and locations, of course. 85 the daytime high. Sunny and warm after we starting off at 58 to Wednesday morning. We're back up to 86 degrees. And then just a beautiful day. Again, all temperatures compared to Wednesday should come down 4 or 5 degrees in most inland areas. For your Thursday afternoon, 82 the daytime high after a morning low of 56. And again, plenty of sunshine for you guys there as well. Just checking my chat here. And again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for doing so. Thank you so much for liking this live stream. As always, if you have a specific question about the forecast, please feel free to drop it in the comments section below. Now, I mentioned that temperatures should be staying above normal over the next 7 days. But when we look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook for the 6 to 10 day time frame, so now we get into the earliest part of April, we should continue to stay above average. Again, what this is telling you is the deeper into the reds that you go, the higher percentage chance you have to see temperatures above normal during this 6 to 10 day time frame. And friends, it's not just us. There's a little bit of cooler weather locked across the northern US Canadian coastline, but for the deep south into the southern plains, temperatures should stay way above average, even into the central plains and portions of the Intermountain West. So we're warm. What about the precip outlook? Well, it's interesting because towards the end of this time frame, we get wetter weather to try and move back in at the beginning of April. So we are slightly above average chance to be wetter than normal in the 6 to 10 day time frame. Now again, this does not count the first 5 days. So I want to be very clear. I'm not expecting a ton of rain between now and the weekend, but early next week we should have a more progressive pattern. We should continue to get some fronts to come in, and we'll see how the sea breeze plays out, but we should see some better rain chances and more appreciable rain, meaning that trying to actually get some in the bucket, not just some spotty showers. Now you notice that how there's this deeper green here, and that would be indicative of a better chance for some active weather, and I want to talk about that real quick as well. So if I go here, I'm looking at the convective outlooks. This is a full 7 days from now, but the Storm Prediction Center does already have a pretty big area of potential severe weather again, all the way from the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley back down to Arklatex and the Mississippi River Valley portion of the Southeast, right? Again, we're not included in this as of now, but this is the day 7 forecast, so basically Sunday. And so we would see that early next week that we might progress into Monday and Tuesday to see a more active pattern. So I just wanted to put that out there that, maybe for next Monday's show, we might have a lot more active weather that's in play for us here. So I'm going to go over to the GFS model real quick, and I'm going to fire this up. I'm going to take this out. Let's take a little bit of time to load up because I want to go ahead and just take it out a full week. Typically we kind of break up these shows, but I just wanted to talk about this as well. And again, great to hear from you guys. Thank you for chiming in the chat. Again, communicating with me. That's what I love to do on this channel. Let me know in the comment section below what's been going on. Have you guys ever spent some time in North Carolina or West Virginia? We enjoyed some beautiful state parks up there. Again, really interesting time of the year. It's a little bit early in the season, right? Nothing has really kind of leafed out as of yet, but still some tremendous sights. Good fire pit weather, I'll tell you that. Unfortunately, on Saturday, and you want to talk about the dry weather and the wildfires, North Carolina issued a statewide burn ban. So that was actually Friday morning. So we could not have a fire in the fire pit for our last full day up there on Friday because of the burn ban. So it just shows you that it's not just us. I mean, a lot of areas are dry. The lightning has been causing some problems as well. So beyond the initial forecast we talked about, here comes that next system for the end of next week. And we'll see how this plays out, right? Just beginning to see that right at the end of the month. And we'll see how this could influence us probably about this time next week. But you can get the idea. And you know, GFS is not really too potent on it as of yet, but a lot of instability in the atmosphere here east of the Mississippi River for next weekend and into early next week. So that's the next big thing that I'm going to be watching out for you guys. All right, so let me get back here. Let's go back over to our current conditions. We'll bring out the visible satellite imagery here. And again, just over the last little bit, we've seen Orlando warm back up to 81 degrees, right? And again, you can see on this beautiful high resolution visible satellite imagery, you can see those thicker clouds that are already building in, and the south winds are pulling in those clouds from the interior locations. And again, it's just going to be a relatively cloudy day. There'll be breaks of sunshine from time to time, but it's going to feel a little bit deeper into spring rather than late March. There's no doubt about it. Again, 81 in Orlando right now. Palm Bay is up to 81 degrees. See, Tampa, again, a little bit more of an onshore breeze there. It's a slightly cooler afternoon, but still above average, 79 there. Our friends in the Port Orange area in at 70, hit 81. How about that? So again, warming up pretty nicely. You can clearly see the front and the colder temperatures behind that with the showers and storms that are moving through the area. And again, a ton of lightning associated with this. If these mid-level winds were a little bit more west to east, this huge ball of lightning, I mean a big cluster of lightning, could be getting a little bit closer to our west coast, but I expect that to move off towards the south. If you do have any travel plans today that takes you up towards the I-10 corridor, the weather is going to be much more active in those areas. Okay, friends, does anyone have any questions about the forecast as we roll through this Monday? Let's go ahead and take a look at the cameras one more time. And if anyone does, now again, remember too, if you are watching this in the recorded version, and you can always find this recorded version on the live tab of the CFLW YouTube channel. So when I get done with this, it archives. It's a video you can go back and run through at your own convenience. But if you do have a specific question about the forecast, even in the recorded version, you're more than welcome to drop it in the comment section below. I do go back and check, and I'm happy to answer that as well. So again, relatively overcast conditions, just a little bit of blue there in the Conway cam. Winter Garden camera, again, peaks of sunshine here and there, just a little bit of vertical development, but still relatively stratus clouds that are moving in from west to east in the western sides of Orange County. You can see the breeze here in Lake Buena Vista. And again, this camera is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom. A little bit of overcast continuing there. If you're headed to the theme parks for today, things will be pretty good, but we'll be warming up as well. Yeah, Blue Goose just a little bit closer to you, no doubt about it, indeed. But I'm not too worried about what you're going to see. Maybe a few showers and a rumble of thunder, but that would be about it. Okay, friends, again, CFLW, the show, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state, homeowners, condo owners, and associations, anything that can impact you or your property. So think hail, hurricane damage, wind coming in, car accident. They're going to walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. We never like to think about it, but if that situation arises in your life, please reach out to leanonmelaw.com. If you would like more information, you can see their website on the bottom of your screen, and we appreciate them being the sponsor here of Central Florida Weather Live. Friends, that'll do it for CFLW, the show on this Monday. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I'll see you guys back here on Friday at 1 o'clock. And again, I do expect us to be talking about some more active weather potentially for our area about this time next week. We'll look at those temperatures as well, but until then, enjoy what's going to be a beautiful couple of days outside of some of these showers that'll be rolling through. You guys have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you back here soon. Because this thing isn't working, I'm going to have to do this. So I'm manually going to say goodbye to you guys here. Let's see. Can I find the outro? Stand by. Stand by. There it is. All right. Have a great rest of your Monday, friends. I'll see you soon.